mi dopera, mi nauncho, mi dopera.
When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company. I said, me, President Mahama, want to talk to me? About what? He said, yes, you are invited to the castle to meet him. The time I reached there, all my company documents and everything was there.
Was in front of the president?
It's in front of him. You know, so that type of relative was there, and there was a guy.
Beblo Latte, the then National Security Coordinator.
Yes, was there, and his brother.
Which brother?
Peter Mahama was there.
Peter, yeah.
And the one they look alike, Alfred,
yeah.
Alfred Mahama was there, and some few people was there. Then he asked me, young man, how did you get all this money? I have all your documents. And I said,
how did you get all this money?
Yeah. Because all my documents. So he said, tell me the truth. And I said, I have nothing to hide. You know, for you to be small or big, you know, you have to work. So my work, the job that I do is a mining. I have a legitimate concession called Hansol and Akunta mining. So this is my document, and I have expatriates that they also work for me, and yeah. So he started opening. So he asked me, okay, tell me about mining. So I told him mining is not a bad thing. Every country need a mining. If you have a resources, you need it to develop here, but you have to regularize it or make a good policy for it. But to me, I have a legitimate lances they have signed for me. This is my lances. So he see everything through. Then he said, oh, this guy, you are too smart. So he touched me on the June 2013 June.
How did this conversation end before he touched you? This Tamale conversation, how did it end?
He told me that, young man, you are too intelligent. I want you to come to NDC to support me. And then I said to him,
you're speaking on the national platform. President Mahama,
I'm saying it because the time,
or his people are listening.
Listen, the time
you have to be sure that what you are saying is correct.
I will never lie. One to me will never lie, and he knows. The time I went there, I went there with now he's a Bosonchi MPP chairman. You know, he was following me that time. Anywhere I go, he's the president. So I went there with him.
Why in Tamale did this meeting happen?
The residency.
Oh, the regional minister's residence.
Yes, the residency. That's the place.
That's why usually the presidents go when they go to Tamale.
Yeah. No, he cannot say he didn't meet me. He cannot.
No, but did he tell you that you should come and support the NDC?
Oh yes, of course. It's normal. It's normal to tell the businessman if he have money, you know, to say, come and support me.
Okay. So what did you say to that before the meeting ended?
I said to him, to me, I see politics as a religion. The place I come from, you know, even if you have money, you know, even if you have power and you have money and you don't belong to MPP, you know, it's very dangerous. The problem is not only about the royalties, and I think we should think beyond that and help ourselves. We have foreign investors who have large-scale companies, and we also have local companies who also own large-scale companies. It's a very difficult for local large-scale companies to have investors.
So without the Ghanaian local large-scale company, for the government supporting them, it will be difficult for the Ghana government to reach their goal, because the important tool in mineral is not only about money, but it starts from the land. Every land is a land. So far as the land is in Ghana, I think it's an opportunity for Ghana government. I have seen MEF here. I think they have to help the local Ghanaian large-scale companies so that they also can have enough funds to do drillings and know the specific the gold minerals in a specific area. And once
when you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company.
Of the New Patriotic Party, we've attempted as much as possible to get Hagrid Batidankwa to share.
If we hadn't insisted on the rule of law, stretching it, let's be honest to ourselves, Tachi Kwesi will not be sitting here today. Because they were going to do everything to jail him. But we insisted that the rule of law must work. Process must be followed at every turn. And God being so good, He's the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs today. The stick you will use to beat Amma, use it for. So let us follow the law. And the law grinds slowly, but it doesn't stop. Jail them, jail them, jail them. Will you be there forever? History has taught me that much as, and no matter how beautiful you think you are doing, change is inevitable one day, perhaps 40 years, but one day. You want them to use the rule of law for you too, when that time comes. If they are wrong, in the space of time we have, I can guarantee you, the work that the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General are doing, if they are wrong, they will be jailed. If they are not, they will be acquitted. Period. But don't breach or tamper with process. It is all you have. Trust me, when everything is said and done, it is law. That's all you have. And the law is the process. So let us follow the process. And you will find out that one by one, those that need to account will be accounted. Why? Our own sister has been extradited. We are trying to extradite a finance minister to come and just answer questions. That is also going through process. So bear with us. We will not do it. It is wrong. And we cannot condone wrong things. Let us do what we as NDC know how to do.
Nothing happens today, then nothing would ever happen to me. Look, both the NDC and the MPP, we need to wipe them away. If we fail as people to work these useless people, we will never ever survive. We will never ever succeed. We will never ever get to the destination we all yearn for. And run na juna metias yes NDC a useless grouping. MPP a useless grouping. I keep telling you, sir, when we a baller, as I say, I do a good bin, but then run na jo and a metias says, Sani Pemmy anyway. Woman Yansafo. No matter whoever has led any of these parties, I don't give a damn to anybody this morning. And I have my flag on my left.
It is a Captain Smart say NDC party ne da ho no. Any government no. Wo mu ye useless. Afie na watena se ehu ni say NDC party ne da ho no. Anyansafo bi anim. NDC party no. Anyansafo bi ani NDC party nim. Anyansafo bi anim. NDC party ne useless. Inti mi bisa Captain Smart say. Question me person mi bisa Captain Smart ne say. According to ono ananum kasa. O say NDC party na da ho na nyansafo bi anim. They are useless. And MPP they are useless. Inti mi person mi bisa Captain Smart question say. Sisi ano opeso oye gomua MP no. Obestande under MPP asiye anaso so best standing under NDC asiye anaso se ni fie chiniye na nsuo pa otam oso edisi ni so no sa chiniye na okoko gina asiya stand for and NDC na oba best stand for question person mi bisa no say Captain Smart best standing under NDC there. No Captain Smart according to ono or see NDC party near useless. Anyansafo bi anim. Inti ade a eye useless no. Se wo ba best standing under sa ade na wo nimpa no so wo ye den. Wo nimpa no wo ye den. Question person mi bisa Captain Smart no. Some boy be person ye youth organizer. Emma MPP party no. Boy ni minimum no. But according to boy lenu mekasa no wahu. Oniminyansa papa. Inti se MPP party na eda ho no. Wo mo hwe ne nyansa so na wo mo to aba ne ma no oba beye youth organizer. Obebo man Ghana. Boy ni. Wo Captain Smart. What say NDC party na nyansafo bi animti na that means atimifo nkoa na ewe NDC party nim ya te ase. What say NDC party na da ho ne useless emfaso bi ani so esese yeto wo mo tene wo baller so because wo mo so ni mfaso they are useless. Inti ade ye useless. Wo so pese wo be stand MP ewo gomua. Inti se wo standing under NDC a wo Captain Smart no wo ye den. Question mi bisa no. Ma mi hu o comment section. Wo pese wo boana party bi chichire Ghana no chichiri ni yi a ye nkondeme ye ndidi atem ba ye kire ya adwene ye correct impanyimfo na ewo mu no. Seche we ye wo mu ani beba wo mo ho so ba wontimi nkondeme party no wontimi ndidi wo mo atem because no matter what no wontimi nkan kire me say NDC party na da wona anyansafo onim because no matter what no wontimi me kan kire me say MPP party na da wona anyansafo onim da bi anyansafo wum aginifo wum they say my price NDC they say my price MPP. Obi biara no obeba beye Ghana ye senye MPP senye NDC a obi biara no oba beye Ghana ye Inti so far as a MPP ni NDC. Ene womu wuro man Ghana no. Esese ye tene womu. Nyankopon wadom. Social media ba. Ama womu ya ade na se nya you use social media to correct those people. We don't use social media to insult them. Because in your beka na no. Ochina me the beba be kayo. That is social media for you. Nti obi a wo say say two parties wey useless no. Now so person was standing as a MP ewo gomua. Okay. Ebia Captain Smart be kwa kotochi ni ye foforo. The wo go ne color blue. Na watu ni dini blue Captain Smart. K.S. Blue Captain Smart Blue Umbrella.
Speak in Twi and I'll translate contemporaneously into English. What an idea of Gomuno. What's the young country there? Who inflation 5%? Where we marry? Upper prescale for Chrome to be untardy. Now inflation up from 2 weeks, Mr. Speaker. Our mothers who sell in the market say they've seen what you are doing. You have sterilized all the money, so there's no money to execute demand. And that is why you calculate that inflation is down. I've also carried spare parts for no. Almost in Yedia Mahama Kache Omunu. He promised to reduce import duties. He has increased the members order. Mr. Speaker, by serving notice and notice is here. The next MPP government under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will ensure that we have inflation at low rates that will not cost the Bank of Ghana 16 billion Ghana cedis. The next MPP government under Dr. Bawumia will ensure that the currency is stable and we will lose 900 million. All human.
Council, Maxwell want to ask a question quickly and then would get some messages. So please.
Council, you said Donald Trump is transactional.
Yes.
Are you saying that Ken bought his extension of stay in US? Is that what you mean by that?
Yes,
I said Ken. This is one of Ken's lawyers.
I heard you.
It's cool. Yeah, that's where I mean by transactional.
So what is it transactional in it? Because as you say, someone is transactional. The person does nothing freely. At least he will take something in exchange of the extension of stay.
Yes, and I'm saying Ashcroft is on the team.
And you know why I'm asking you this question. You are a revered counsel, and I expect you to talk with evidence. You don't just speculate.
But you don't know that Ashcroft is close to Donald Trump. You don't know that.
You are now in the
no, don't go there. No, don't go there. Look,
you are not speculating. Do you have evidence?
Do you know?
I'm asking you. Do you have? Wait. Do you have evidence that Ken paid for his freedom in US? Do you have evidence to that?
Is that the statement I made?
Oh, that's what that is what you mean by what did you mean by
I need to determine that's your own opinion.
That is why I'm saying
you are entitled to make your opinion, but you are not to ask me to change the word.
You are a lawyer. You are a lawyer, and I expect you to elevate the argument. You sounded a bit pedestrian, seriously. Okay.
Or is that's how you think? Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Yes.
Okay. I expect you to speak based on evidence, not just go
don't worry. The evidence.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to this edition of Good Evening Ghana. It's always a pleasure to come to you tonight. It's today is the 28th day of July 2026. Tonight we have some interesting schedule to share with you. I'm sure that you have seen our flyer, those of you who have seen it. And you know that tomorrow is big day at the Supreme Court. Tomorrow the Supreme Court will be giving a decision on two important cases that they've been looking at. They have been looking at the case involving Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, Professor Christine Amwakunuyama, and Professor Frimpong Boateng, all of them filing an application to the Supreme Court asking for a declaration that the voter system in political parties is unconstitutional and that they want the Supreme Court to declare the Electoral College that the political parties use as unconstitutional. They want it to be that for the elections of members of parliament from the party and the presidential candidates, these elections must be conducted by all persons who belong to the political party, either in that constituency and for the presidential candidate in the whole of the country. So all NDC members in Ghana who are registered and in good standing should be able to participate. This is what the applicants are claiming, should be able to participate in an election of a presidential candidate. And when it comes to the parliamentary candidate, all the members of the New Patriotic Party registered in that particular constituency for the purpose of electing the New Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate, all of them who are in good standing should participate. So we're waiting to see what the Supreme Court will say. But tonight on the touch screen, we'll break it down and explain to you what the applicants are looking for, what are the potential issues that the court will raise, and what are the options for verdict from the Supreme Court. Will they go this way, that way, or the other way? We're going to share all that with you tonight on the show for the two cases. And then also, I have seen the video of my good friend Captain Smart, and I'm not sure. I tried to reach him today, and perhaps he will call back, or I'll try and reach him tomorrow about talking about NDC and MPP. We'll have a conversation about that, isn't it? I also was watching Newsfile, as I always do, and I saw Inusah Hussaini making a statement that Chairman Wontumi is not a political prisoner because political prisoners are those who are imprisoned for their beliefs. We will interrogate that statement by the former minister, Inusah Hussaini, and the learned man who made these statements on Joy FM's Newsfile the other day. But you have to wait because we have a documentary for you as part of today's program. It's not a long documentary. It's only about 8 minutes long. The documentary will take us back to the days of the public tribunal. We are delighted to report that we obtained a copy of a video from the public tribunal processes. It occurred sometime in 1991 or 1992. It's very interesting because the video covers the trial of two important people who were being tried by the public tribunal. They include Professor Albert Edouboahen, the Emeritus Professor of History, who was the MPP presidential candidate in the 1992 elections, and of course, our own darling, dear big brother and uncle, Kwesi Pratt Jr. Both of them were on trial for being associated with bomb throwing at what used to be called the Ringway Hotel. The Ringway Hotel, for those of you who are young, the millennials and the Gen Zs, the Ringway Hotel is what you now see as in Accra on the Ring Road, what you now see as the headquarters of SGSSB. That building, the giant building of the SSB, that space was occupied by a hotel called the Ringway Hotel. And guess what? The Ringway Hotel has more political connotation. The Ringway Hotel belonged to Justice and Mrs. Edward Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo's parents, the former president's parents, owned the Ringway Hotel. The situation happened in 1991, where I think some meeting was going on in the Ringway Hotel and bombs were thrown at the Ringway Hotel. The security people started investigating, and they thought that Professor Edouboahen and Kwesi Pratt were part of the conspiracy to do this. So a public tribunal trial was occasioned, and we have the video of the trial. You will hear what Professor Edouboahen said in his own defense, and that's how the public tribunals operate. And you will hear what Kwesi Pratt Jr. said in his own defense as well. It's such a pricey piece of video. We are very delighted to bring it to you. And we also found time in the video to show you how the tribunal panel system works. That is, those who are adjudicating at the tribunal, how the system works. It's very, very important that you see it. It's a great video, and we are very happy that we're able to share with you. So that's coming up on tonight's show as well. And then also, Boakye Agyarko, the competitor and front runner for the MPP's chairmanship job. There's an article about him that I'd like to read for you as we head towards that. Professor Kwesi Yankah also has an article on the public tribunal system, and then we'll talk to you about it. President John Dramani Mahama has been has been hosting the Gabonese head of state. And delightfully, they had gone to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum to look at the place, and the Gabonese delegation was super delighted. We'll talk about that, of course. Whilst we do that, we'll bring up Akufo-Addo for praise for having the vision to construct and put together the Nkrumah Mausoleum the way that he did. So that's a big show on Good Evening Ghana. And then lecturers from the Faculty of Law at the University of Ghana will be joining us to tell us the new program that they are instituting to help students build themselves and build their careers outside the classroom. They are instituting some kind of lectures that is not part of the classroom work, but that will help students to build themselves up. They are coming from the Faculty of Law at the University of Ghana to speak to us here tonight. So that's part of the agenda. We're going to deal with that as well. But let's start with the most important. I had a very important conversation on Saturday night. Okay, and the conversation was with somebody who understands the national security system. He thoroughly understands it. And he spoke to me about a few things on national security relating to some of the programs that we have conducted here on Good Evening Ghana. It has to do especially with the conduct, with the editorials that we have published on the Deputy Attorney General, Mr. Justice Sremsai. And the security people had a conversation with me. So I'm going to tell you the conversation they had. And when we finish, we are going to render an apology to some of the publications that we have done on Justice Sremsai. You see that's happening very soon. And this is our first story. And so we call it an editorial. This is our editorial on the matter.
Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land of freedom. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors. Toils of the brave which have brought results.
So on Saturday night, I had a conversation with somebody who is connected to he knows about the security system. He's been operating it for many years now. He knows about it. And I had a conversation with him. So the conversation started and we were talking about the work that I do and we all do here on Good Evening Ghana. So he told me that, so he starts, how are you, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, listen to me, Paul. I said, okay, I'm listening. I knew he was going to be critical because of who he is, and I know him, and I know he was going to be critical of me. And he started by saying that, listen, the work you do in Ghana, you are an asset, whichever way you look at it. Sometimes you do your things, you go overboard and all that, but you are still an asset. For security people, they are interested in the work you do because you are an asset. And you're also a very intelligent person. I was very happy with that when he said, I didn't know people think I'm very intelligent. He said, you're a very intelligent person. I said, oh, wow, really, thank you. So viewers, if you think that I'm intelligent, please tell me. It will make me very happy, okay? But that's aside. So he said that you're a very intelligent person. And you are one of the journalists who has access to people. You have access to almost everybody in this country. And he said, you have access to me. He talked about himself. You have access to other people. Now, that reminded me, and I'm digressing just a bit, that reminded me of an encounter I had with President Mahama sometime in the election year. I think I showed some pictures here. I was traveling from Europe to Ghana, and then I went to after checking in, I went to wait at the waiting area. But when I got to the waiting area, I noticed, then I have some experience to be able to notice when I see plainclothes security men around a place like an airport waiting area. So I noticed it. So I asked the people, that, why are these guys here? And they said, the former president of Ghana is here. He's traveling to Ghana with you. And I said, oh, I see. So then I saw Dr. D. I don't want to mention his full name, but those who know. His name starts with a D. So I saw Dr. D, and I noticed that, oh, then JM is here. So I went to their place, and at the time, Dr. D saw me, but the president hadn't seen me. I think he was talking to somebody. So when I arrived there, so Dr. D was smiling when I was approaching. When I arrived there, he raised his, hey, Paulus. I said, yes, sir. I put my hands behind me as usual. He said, hi, Paulus. I said, yes, sir. He said, oh, no. He was shaking his head. He said, no. But why are you doing that? I said, oh, what have I done? He said, yes, I saw a news item online where you, Paul, you were saying that you have access to Akufo-Addo, so you will not criticize him. I said, yes, I think I said that in an interview. He said, but you criticize me. Do you have access to me? You criticize me. And I said, oh, Mr. President, I don't. I just criticize your people. He said, no. What is criticize your people? You have access to me, so you can call me and ask me, but you criticize people, me, and then when you are asked about Akufo-Addo, you say that you have access to him, so you don't criticize him. I put my hand behind. I was quite embarrassed a little bit, I have to admit, viewers. I was quite embarrassed, but I couldn't do anything about it. So just hello, smiles, and then we left, and we all came to Ghana. By the grace of God, we had a safe journey. So when this guy told me the story that you have access to everybody in this country, you can call people. And I still didn't know what he was driving at. I said, yes, so what's the point you're making? He said, that video you did on Sermsai. I said, which one? The one he was standing in the lift taking a photograph. He said, oh, no, that one is so bad, but that's your matter. I don't want to tell you how to do your work. That's very, very bad, but that's up to you. Let me address the one on the security situation. I said, yeah, I'm listening. He said, you said he had airborne force soldiers. I said, yes. I said, and you know they are airborne force soldiers. You know what they do. I said, yeah, but that's why I was outraged. How do you have a deputy minister with airborne? Airborne is an elite group of people. Then he said to me that, but what you were doing, you were inciting the general public against the deputy minister. I said, well, not quite. I was concerned that a deputy minister is using so much resources of the state to protect himself. I was concerned about that. He said, but do you think that is a deputy minister who called the airborne force to come and be with him? Then I paused a little bit. I was listening to him. He said, yes. Do you think is he Sermsai who called the airborne? Does he know them? You think he called them that they should come and be with him? I said, yeah, okay, so who did? He said, we do. It's the security system that does it. He doesn't do it. And it is about the level of threat on his life. So you don't say that a deputy minister must have less security than a minister. That's the normal thing. But where the threats occur, and then you remember, viewers, there was a photograph about Ken Ofori-Atta. He showed it to me. I think it's 2019's budget presentation. I'll get it for you. And Ofori-Atta had, when he arrived in Parliament, he had, Ofori-Atta usually used the Cantanta vehicle, the saloon car, the beautiful one. And he had a lot of security people around him, and he went around and people were talking about it. And he said, do you remember that? It is the level of threats on the individual that determines the security that we prescribe for him. So he doesn't decide that, bring me, he doesn't even know that they are airborne force. He doesn't decide on those things. We tell him that, Chief, this is the way you are going, this is how we have to protect you. And that's the video that is going. This is the video that we heavily criticize. That's Justice Sermsai arriving at the court with the airborne force soldiers behind him. And I was quite outraged about it. So he kept on explaining to me that because of the level of threat I said, what's the level of threat? He said, well, you don't know that. And the security people will not tell you that. All you needed to do was to call us because you have access to us and tell us that why does the deputy minister have so many soldiers around him? And we would have explained to you. That's what he told me. I became quite sober. I was listening to him because I trust his security and intelligence analysis. I really trust it. But, but I trust his intelligence analysis. So he was telling me, and I was listening. And he said, look at the time. Then I checked the time, and viewers, I'm not exaggerating. It was 1:45 a.m. in the morning, and we were talking together here in Accra. And said, look at the time I'm talking to you. It means you have access to me. Why will I be talking to you at this time? So you have to sometimes understand that the role that you play in this your Good Evening Ghana and whatever journalism you are doing, it's important. And so you, of all people, must ask questions before you go and stand on TV and start. Now what you did, you were inciting the general public against the deputy minister. I said, okay, what is the extent of threat on his life? He said, you want me to tell you that? I can't tell you that. But all I'm telling you is that we determine the security with him. It's not he determines it. I said, oh, wow. Then I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry. He said, don't say sorry to me. Go and say sorry to your TV people. Because what you did was very bad. And that you are increasing the cost of the security protection on the guy. Because he is a minister. He cannot come and respond. You are on TV every day, Tuesday, Thursday, shouting. He cannot come and say that, oh, it is the security people who told me that. He can't do that. And I understood that. And I told him that, but the work that I'm doing is not targeting streams. I said, no, but it is. Because that is how it looks like. When you do the thing like that, it appears that you have targeted the guy. I said, Paul, if you take my advice, I'll give you advice. If you take my advice, you're a very seasoned person. You know what to do. But if you take my advice, don't present your stories to look like you have targeted somebody. What you've been doing with Sermsai, and I'm not talking about the court, that's what he's talking. I'm not talking about the court where you say, Atachian said this, Kwabena Dubois said that. That is court, you can do it. You are not the judge. The judge is going to rule eventually. And I like the way you often acknowledge that you are not the judge. And you can talk about the Attorney General said this and said that, but to target the security and the protection of the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, is quite personal. You're attacking him. And then you put him on this, he takes a photograph and he puts on social media, and then you are all over the place with it, and you are playing some song. I think that's not good at all. But that one, he kept emphasizing, that one is your journalism. It's up to you. I am telling you that on the security matter, you were blatantly wrong. You are very, very wrong. And what you did is very bad. And you should never do that again. So after the conversation went on, I mean, we spoke about many, many things. By the time I was leaving him, it was nearly 3 a.m. in the morning. This is the morning into Sunday morning. So we met on Saturday night. And I listened to it, and I thought that I should talk about it also for other journalists and all of us who cover social stuff. It's always important for us to understand the security dimension of the things we did. The things we do here is not intended to be targeted against Justice Sremsai, but we apologize for that editorial or that stuff we did. I apologize for it. I take personal responsibility for it, because the narrative that it seems targeted sits well with me. It's not targeted. Justice Sremsai, I'm not targeting you at all, and I apologize for that. I'm not interested in compromising your security. I want you to be alive. I want all young people who are working for the government to be alive. I support young people all the time. So please forgive us. We will not do that again. And to the security person who spoke to us, we are very happy that you spoke to us and you explained to us. Also, please, Justice Sremsai, ignore the what we said about the lift photograph. We sincerely apologize for that. We shouldn't have taken you on this photograph that you took. It was unnecessary, and we will not do that again. We will stay with what we have to do. And viewers, forgive us. Sometimes, forgive me, I should say. Sometimes when you are running an extempo conversation and your mind is on the opposition and you are dealing with the government, it's always possible that you just might slip away. Political journalism is very slippery, and I'm very delighted that I have very important people like the gentleman I met on Saturday night who called me and say that, listen, let me speak to you, and I'd like to listen to what he said, and I think that he was very right. I want to become a minister one day. I don't want my security to be compromised. So in the same vein, I don't want a minister of today's security to be compromised and come on TV and say he shouldn't use airborne force as security. I was motivated by some of the things that the NDC people did in opposition, where they would shout on ministers for having soldiers and all of that. But now we have understood what it is. And so forgive me, viewers. We will talk about court all the time. That we can't stop talking about court. But anytime we do something that you think that we have crossed the line and is becoming a personal attack, please draw our attention to it. We are not demigods. We do not think that we know everything. We know that we are still learning. We are here to serve you and to bring you the best information that we can. In bringing the information, we also want to entertain you, as we do entertain Suleiman Brahma all the time. But whenever we cross like that, I am delighted that somebody will call me or one of the people here whom you know and tell him that this one was bad. Sometimes we'll argue with you because there are those who just say that everything we do is bad. So we argue with them. And in fact, this conversation started as an argument. And then by the time we finished, I had understood the logic and the sense in what the security official was telling me. So please, Justice Sremsai, we will not personally attack you. We will just look at your work and evaluate it. We are very, very sorry for that at 9:42. We hope that we have been forgiven. And thank you, security couple. We will keep your number and we'll be calling you all the time. That's the end of our editorial of apology. This is Good Evening Ghana.
Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land of freedom. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors. Toils of the brave which have brought results.
That's the end of our editorial. Now, let's begin with our stories for tonight. And we have a big documentary on tribunals. But this is what we need to go through this, shouldn't we? At the weekend, the chief of staff and a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy from the University of Ghana, I like to call him Ambassador Julius Deborah, but now he's Dr. Julius Deborah, and these are the photographs that were shown on the Facebook page of the president, John Dramani Mahama, ever proud of his friend and chief of staff, Julius Deborah, who earned a PhD. The president presided over the event quite beautifully. He spoke highly of his chief of staff. There is Professor Ebo Hinson, who has recently authored a book with the chief of staff about governance. Ebo is Ghana's top scholar in marketing. Ebo Hinson on the right is Ghana's topmost scholar in marketing. He is a professor of marketing at the School of Business School. Ebo Hinson is also a former Akora. Julius Deborah and Ebo Hinson together authored a book, and there is Professor Hinson supporting his co-author, the chief of staff, Dr. Julius Deborah. Dr. Deborah now in the audience, preparing to receive his PhD, looking as modest as ever. Johnson Asiedu Nketia was not there, and I have to put that on record. I don't know whether President Mahama noticed, but Johnson Asiedu Nketia was not there. This is President Mahama sharing a point of a light joke with the audience, as he usually does. And these are the cultural troupe, which is associated with almost every Ghanaian event. President Mahama in a warm embrace with Dr. Julius Deborah over there. Here is Pentecost, former Pentecost rector. He is Apostle Opoku Onyina, who was there to support his church elder, Julius Deborah, who obtained a PhD from the University of Ghana. Maretta Bruopon is also, I believe, on the University Council representing the president, and she was there as well, a former Attorney General. And this is Julius Deborah with some of his mates, all of whom received a PhD. I'm very excited about the guy on the right. He looks like a very young man, and he's grabbed a PhD. Congratulations, sir. I don't know who he is, but I like to see young people do that. He looks like a very, very young man. He looks like 32 or something like that, and he's grabbed the PhD, standing with Julius Deborah. That's quite encouraging. I think that's the end of the photograph. So yes, that was a beautiful ceremony at the University of Ghana, where Julius Deborah, the chief of staff, and the PhD. Johnson Asiedu Nketia did not attend the event, for sure. I don't know why. Viewers, if you know why, tell me why the chief of staff was collecting a PhD and Johnson Asiedu Nketia decided that he will not attend. I'm sure every member of the party and ministers were invited, but the party chairman, he didn't go because they are in a fierce contest with Julius Deborah. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court will have a say in that contest of Asiedu Nketia, Julius Deborah, and Case Salato Folson, and we'll be talking to you about that on the touch screen later tonight. Okay, let's move on to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. And here is the Gabonese head of state who visited Ghana at a state visit today. And as part of the schedule, the office of the president took him round to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum to look at it. And this is, I believe, the Museum Authority on the left, showing the Gabonese president some of the important artifacts that have been preserved for the memory of our first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. This was the tombstone. This was originally created by Flight Lieutenant Rawlings in the same spot, and later on President Akufo-Addo graciously spent taxpayers' money wisely to put this together. And I was excited that the Gabonese president was happy to lay a wreath here, the naval soldier giving him the wreath to put down. And this is he observing his respect to the mortal remains of our first president and the African of the millennium, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Nkrumah's photographs populated the whole place in glam and glory. The Black Star of Africa, of course, you can't miss that. I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. A famous quote of the first president of Ghana. The Gabonese head of state enjoyed it. Here is President Mahama's national security advisor, Prosper Bani, a former chief of staff and minister for tourism, Ablan Gomashi, all of them accompanying the Gabonese president. I believe that these are things that he read and saw. I believe this is the writing of the Osagyefo office or appointment and address, something interesting like that. I'm yet to visit Mausoleum. That's the Gabonese president signing the book of visitors, I believe. I'm yet to visit the mausoleum, so I don't know everything there. But I have to say something, when these things happen, I cannot but give credits to Nana Addo Dankwa. I was at a photograph they gave me. Wow. The 80-year-old man looks like 42 in his dark spectacles and his beautiful suit. I understand that he's on holiday abroad and he'll be coming back soon so that we can go and see him. It's always beautiful to listen to Akufo-Addo talk about politics and talk about Ghana. No, I like the photograph. Why did you change it? Yeah, I like it. It's great. It's beautiful, isn't it? Now, viewers, I'm bringing this up for the NDC folks who are watching me. This was Akufo-Addo's vision. Often they say Akufo-Addo did nothing. Akufo-Addo didn't do anything. He came to steal money. This is what you see. Akufo-Addo had a vision, even though he had his own reservations about some of the things Nkrumah did. He had his vision to spend taxpayers' money to build a beautiful Nkrumah Mausoleum. Nkrumah is the African of the millennium, and that's what animated the decision. Now, during the time I spoke to him, and he would tell me that was the point. I mean, this is not emotional. He's our first president. He's African of the millennium. Should Ghanaians come here and then they don't know, they ask about Nkrumah and they have to go to Nkrofo? Yes, we have to do Nkrofo because that's where he comes from, but something must be in Accra for those who cannot make the journey. Somebody comes to Ghana and is spending 5 hours in transit. He must come and see the Nkrumah Mausoleum. And last year, if you look at the tourism figures, they're shooting through the roof in 23, 24, and 25. I'm sure by the end of this year, they'll bring the figures, and you will see that the Nkrumah Mausoleum has become a major tourist attraction. It completely dwarfs the amount of money Akufo-Addo spent on it. That's the leader with the vision, and those are the leaders that we must elect. Mahamadou Bawumia is one such leader. So congratulations, Mr. President. Thank you very much for giving us the Nkrumah Mausoleum. The Gabonese president was there today. He really liked it. He really, really liked it. You're a man of vision. Thank you very much. Come back home quickly and then we can continue to hear from you on how you think we should build Ghana. That's Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, our former president. Now, talk of MPP. There's here an article. The MPP contest of national chairmanship is still on. And here is an article that has been written about one of the guys, Boakye Jackon. Boakye Jackon is getting a lot of support in this race because I'm guessing that people are thinking that he has the mantle, the vision, and the character to lead the party. Boakye Jackon is really a blue blood conservative. He's a thoroughly conservative individual in terms of his politics, and he's very, very knowledgeable. I mean, those who know will tell you. If you go to his village in Krobo, where he lives, you go there and visit him. I've been there to visit him so many times, and you sit with Boakye and you talk about the history of Ghana's politics and where Ghana is going, the different tribal divisions and voting patterns, and nobody understands these things better than Boakye Jackon, especially voting patterns. I don't know whether Musa Dankwa has met him before, but Boakye doesn't call himself a pollster, but he's able to thoroughly analyze for you constituencies in different parts and nooks and crannies, and he'll tell you that this constituency, they vote this way because of that and that. Boakye was the first person who showed me a constituency in Bono Ahafo region, and the MP there, he's won the seat so many times. The MP does not win the seat, and viewers, when I mention the MP's name, you can check. I'm going to mention his name. The MP doesn't win the seats more than 10 votes. Those who are very political, you already know who I'm talking about. He's never won. He's won it about 5 times. I think he's one of the oldest 7 MPs in Parliament. He doesn't come to Parliament often. He was a Minister of Works and Housing before. I refer to the Honorable Collins Dauda. Collins Dauda has not won his seats by more than 10 votes before. Every time, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1. When you ask him, he's laughing. When you ask Collins Dauda, where do you get this, your 5, 6 single numbers from? He's laughing. One time I wanted to understand Collins Dauda. I went to his house. He lives at East Legon, up there near the Trasaco area. And I went to his house, he was sitting down. He said he has no answer for me. He likes to speak in Twi. I said, offer Collins. The idea is, yeah, brother, be kind votes, mommy. That's Collins Dauda. And it was Boakye who explained to me the demographics in Collins Dauda's constituency, why he always wins by those small margins. Under 10, I think that Parliament should give an award to Collins Dauda, and we should document this properly. Political science should study it. How does an MP win the seats, and all the time, some of those times he wins? MPP presidential candidate wins. I think that Akufo won in that time. I think 2016, Akufo-Addo won there. But Collins Dauda will win by 3, 4, and Collins Dauda's results are the last to come in all the elections. Please get me the constituency name. Those of you viewers who know, type it onto our social media and the Ekwa will read it for us. Collins Dauda wins by 3, 4. It was Boakye who explained to me how the demographics were. I don't think there's anyone who understands this country's political dynamics in terms of movement of people, voting, patterns, and all of that better than Boakye. I was happy when Akufo-Addo made him the campaign manager for 2012. Unfortunately, the victory was not to be, but we saw what happened in court. Let's see what somebody has written about him over here. NPP needs a rescuer. The NPP needs a unifier. The NPP needs Boakye Jarko. As someone who has been part of the NPP for many years, I have witnessed our highs and lows. I have celebrated our victories, defended our principles, and shared in the disappointment of our setbacks. That is why I believe this moment is too important for us to get wrong. Recently, I had the privilege of listening to Honorable Boakye Jarko engage some lectures in the University of Cape Coast. I have listened to many aspirants over the years, but there was something different about him. He spoke with calm confidence, deep conviction, and above all, a genuine love for the NPP. There was no grandstanding or empty rhetoric, only a clear understanding of where we are, why we are here, and what must be done to restore our party. When he was asked why he wanted to become the national chairman, his answer was as brief as it was profound. He said, to rescue the NPP. Those words resonated deeply with me because they reflected what many of us have been quietly feeling. Our party does not simply need a new chairman. It needs renewal. It needs healing. It needs leadership that will unite rather than divide, inspire confidence rather than deepen mistrust, and put the party above personal interest. The NPP has always been bigger than any individual. It is a tradition built on sacrifice, service, discipline, and the unwavering belief that we exist to improve the lives of Ghanaians. To preserve that tradition, we need leaders who are prepared to rebuild our structures, reconnect with our grassroots, restore trust among our members, and remind us why we joined this great party in the first place. After listening to Boakye Jarko, I felt convinced that he has the experience, the character, the courage, and the vision to lead that process. This is not about personalities. It is about the future of the new patriotic party. It is about ensuring that the party we have all invested our time and energy and loyalty in emerges stronger, more united, and better prepared for the challenges ahead. For me, the choice is clear. I stand with Honorable Boakye Jarko because I believe he's the leader who can rescue, reorganize, and reposition our party. If we truly love the NPP, then this is the time to choose the leader who can restore its soul, rebuild its strength, and renew the confidence of his members. Rescue the NPP, hashtag Boakye Jarko, hashtag renew the NPP, hashtag unity, hashtag leadership, hashtag service before self. Kwabena Safo wrote this very beautiful article, and I think it captures many of the aspirations of many people who have supported the NPP for a very long time. I tried to reach Boakye Jarko. I think he's still campaigning somewhere. I'm going to talk to him. You remember he came here for an interview. Maybe we can get him here for another interview to ask what his real vision is to push this agenda to rescue the NPP and eventually bring the elections and politics onto an even keel to help Mahamudu Bawumia elected as president of Ghana. Okay, we now have they're still showing me PhD photographs. No, do you want me to deal with the Captain Smart situation? No, I'll do that a bit later. Now, I think I have the tribunal documentary on the cards. And viewers, we're going to watch this documentary. It's about, Samuel, how long is it? How long is the documentary?
9 minutes.
It's not 5 minutes. 9 minutes, okay. My editor here says it's 9 minutes. Viewers, sorry for that. The editor is sitting behind the camera, so you can't see him, but I can see him. And he says it's 9 minutes long. That's a bit long, but I'm sure you enjoy it. So what's in the documentary? So the documentary starts with setting out the tribunal matter. And the most important part, why I'm inviting you to watch it, is that it shows the video of a tribunal. So you're a millennial, you're a Gen Z. Before millennial is which one? Is it me? That's what? Gen X, eh? Please help me. There's X, millennial, and Z. Yeah, okay. So the millennials are the 80s, those who were born in the 80s, something like that. We are the earlier people, the Nkokra people. and then there's millennial, and then there's Gen Z, isn't it? There's Gen Alpha too. Is that no? I think that's much older. Oh, the 2006 coming. Okay. So those of you born in the 80s who are now old and you are part of the decision-making process in Ghana, and so you are 36 or you are 32 or you are 29, you probably have heard about public tribunals, but you don't know how it works. This is a video, in this documentary, it's a video of how the public tribunals used to work. It is interesting, and I'm sure it's going to catch your attention, because we are lucky in this video to have Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is still very much with us, and everyone knows Kwesi Pratt Jr., all the millennials know of him. And Kwesi Pratt Jr. is in the tribunal. This tribunal video captures the trial of Professor Albert Edubwani, whom many of you may not know. Edubwani died in about 2003 or 2004 at the 37 Military Hospital, sadly. Edubwani was a great friend of mine. As a young journalist, he was interested in my work, and he told me to come and see him every Friday. So every Friday, I'll go to his house at the airport residential area. He usually sat upstairs in his home. I'll go there. There will be so many books around him, and he'll tell me about the history of University of Ghana. He gave me the books that he wrote. It was Edubwani who kindled my love for J.B. Dankwa and his philosophy, because Edubwani told me a lot, and he gave me a book he had written entitled The Ghanaian Establishment. It was edited by Edubwani. He had put all the letters of Dr. Dankwa together. I still have that book. I'm sure some people too have it. There was one in the Political Science Library in Legon when I was there. Professor Michael Kwe used to guard it very jealously, always check whether somebody had stolen the book, etc., etc. But yes, Professor Edubwani was a great mind, and it's sad that he never became president of Ghana. Now, this video shows Professor Edubwani on trial together with Kwesi Pratt. And attending the trial to support Professor Edubwani was John Ajekum Kufuor, and you will see him much, much younger looking. And then also Kakere Samoa. The story of Kakere Samoa is interesting because in this video in 1991-92, Kakere Samoa was a member of the MPP, but of course now he's a member of the NDC. Kakere Samoa became a member of the NDC with Professor Mills at the period of Professor Mills. You would also see the former Attorney General Gloria Kufu, very, very young, very, very, very young in 1991, sitting in the tribunal. And you will hear Kwesi Pratt defending himself in the tribunal, and you hear Professor Edubwani also defending himself. Of course, the nature of the tribunal, a lot of people went in and were cheering and shouting and all of that. That's coming up in this 9 minutes documentary. We put it down so that all of you who don't know anything about the tribunal can put it in perspective. If after you watch it, you still think we should have the tribunal, that is your decision. If after you watch it, you think we should not have the tribunal, that is your decision. But we want to show you the facts, and then you can make a decision. When we come back from the documentary, we'll pick some aspects of it and dwell on it. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live, a lot more coming. Here is our documentary on the public tribunal system.
The history of the PNDC rule in Ghana cannot be told without the mention of the public tribunal system. The tribunal system was the main platform on which cases of a criminal nature were tried, and sometimes cases involving political opponents. This system was used, and many feel that it was actually overused and sometimes abused during the PNDC era. Under the Fourth Republic, the Consultative Assembly, which drew the 1992 Constitution, managed to keep the public tribunals in the Constitution by Article 142, which established the public tribunals, and Article 143, which grants jurisdiction to the public tribunals to try matters on so-called public interest. However, all the presidents and parliaments of the Fourth Republic have refused to apply the public tribunal system in Article 142 and 143. First, J.J. Rawlings, who presided over the PNDC, refused to apply it during his two-term presidency. John Ajekum Kufuor, who visited the public tribunals and became president for 2 terms, also refused to apply it. Professor John Evans Atta Mills and President Mahama's first term also both refused to do it. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who has historically been against the public tribunals, also expectedly refused to do it. But on 17th July 2026, the 9th Parliament of the Fourth Republic passed a bill to bring the public tribunals into being. Soon after the bill was passed, some members of civil society, and especially the former vice president, who is also the presidential candidate of the opposition MPP, have called on President Mahama not to accent the bill.
I speak to you on a matter that has the potential to reshape our justice delivery system, confidence in our judiciary, and the future of our democracy altogether. The attempt to reintroduce tribunals into Ghana's judicial system. Last week, Parliament passed the Tribunals Bill 2026. The mandatory one-day interval between the consideration stage and the third reading was waived so that the bill could be passed on the same day. The minority's objections were voted down. Organized labor objected loudly and publicly, but was ignored. The bill will soon be transmitted to the President for his assent. I have one respectful request of President Mahama. Mr. President, do not assent to this bill. Pause and let the nation ponder and deliberate on this very important matter. This is not a partisan request. The Trades Union Congress, the voice of millions of Ghanaian workers, has called for the bill to be withdrawn altogether, warning that in its current form, it could become a potent tool for weaponizing justice delivery.
This documentary will now give you a good view of how the public tribunal system looked like. You can now see journalist Ben Efson covering proceedings in the public tribunal system. Here is Jonah Jekum Kufuor, Kakra Isamoah, who used to be with the MPP but now the NDC, and lawyer John Indebogere, as well as Dr. Kwame Safwedu, a former presidential candidate of the NPP, and of course, former Attorney General, Madame Gloria Ekufu. Here is the scene as crowds cheer, whilst accused persons, the late Professor Edu Boahen and journalist Kwesi Pratt Jr. are brought in to answer their charges. Here is Professor Edu Boahen's opening statement.
I believe this same court is to invite me here to give evidence as a witness. And as the charge seeking the issue, I refuse on that basis. And if I'm brought in the same way, now accused, place me how I can live so I cannot speak. For the reasons which I set out in my letter to the chair of the National Tribunal, I do not accept the authority of this tribunal. I stand by the terms of my letter. Indeed, the present situation confirms the strength of my allegations that these tribunals are instruments for the persecution of political opponents of the PNDC government. It is well known, both the government and the security agencies, that I had no connection whatsoever with the bomb throwing incident.
Kwesi Pratt also mounted the stage in classic fashion, and this was 1992, 34 years ago.
I can't before the tribunal. Sir, the greatest says, not let us come to the boss before the cars. As we explained to the professor, when we are sitting here, it's based on procedure and law. And we just don't do things at random.
Now, the second one is that I am deeply convinced that the state is not interested in the enforcement of law generally in this country. And that have been brought before this court because you are opponents of the government, and the government wants to use this issue to be legitimized. And there is evidence to that effect. PNDC members of committed murder because any murder, which is a gruesome crime, goes unpunished in this country because you know that the person is associated with the PNDC. And there's a case in 1983 where the PNDC member picked up a rifle and shot 6 people dead The case was reported to the chairman of PNDC, and he did not find necessary to enforce the law. Now, why is the state interested in enforcing the law when it comes to a simple question of obstruction of the traffic? When panel members of the tribunal themselves have publicly admitted that the state is government interference in the affairs of the tribunal.
About the panel that tries cases in the tribunal, this is how it works. The tribunal often has 3 members, with only one of them being a lawyer. Here is a video example of how the public tribunal system used to work in those days.
In relation to his client, application is granted. PW10 is recalled at the instance of prosecution in terms of the application. Full reasons for this shall be embodied in the final judgment in the case. PW10 is recalled.
Maybe Dr. Bawumia has a case in asking President Mahama to abandon this course.
The answer to congested courts is to strengthen the courts, more judges, more courtrooms, and digitized processes. It is not to build a second system of justice. Mr. President, your government commands one of the largest majorities in the history of the Fourth Republic. With such numbers, Parliament can pass almost any bill it wishes. Not everything that can be passed should be passed. The larger the majority, the greater the duty of restraint.
But also, recently, pollster Musa Dankwa has conducted a poll in which he says many Ghanaians are expecting the public tribunals to work and that many Ghanaians are happy about the return of the public tribunal. What do you think?
I like the background song, Obambe Ya Ifiyenara. So now you have your view on the public tribunal. Let's just get into the matter in some detail, just so that we can share the video a bit more. We have Kwesi Pratt's analysis of what he told the public tribunal in the court on that occasion. Now let's start. This is a video. Let's see how the crowds cheer. So in the public tribunal, you can get in as it's operated. Then you can get in and be shouting. You can be cheering and screaming the name of people. Have a look at this. That was the cheers. That's how it is. You see, at the public tribunal, this is how they come in and they are cheering. So now let's get back to the historical video and see some of the people who were at the tribunal. They came to support Professor Dubois and Kwesi Pratt Jr. So you will see them as we showed you in the documentary if you are just joining us. Now this is Ben Efson. Can you hold it there, please, if you can pause it for me? This is Ben Efson. I like people to look at Ben Efson very well. This is Ben Efson of 1991. Oh no, they paused it when Ben Efson had gone. Okay, I'm sure they'll bring it back. But this is J. Kufuor on the left and Kakrai Samoa. And this is Ben Efson. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Ben Efson is a newspaper editor, and at that time, he reported for the BBC, and he was a BBC reporter at the tribunals. So that's Ben Efson. You see, they're taking out his pen to write out what is happening at the tribunal as they bring them in. Let's move the video on and talk about the other important people. This is John Agyekum Kufuor, the former president of Ghana. Now, this is 1992, And President Kufuor had also contested the MPP flag bearership, but he didn't win. He was with lawyer Kakri Samoa, who had gone there also to support Edu Boahen and Kwesi Pratt. Sorry about that, viewers. They supported Edu Boahen and Kwesi Pratt. So that's quite interesting. Let's move on to the other personalities. I think we're looking for John Inde Bugere, my very, very good friend Inde. Inde is a socialist. He's a left-wing politician, and but he was a good friend of mine. And I used to enjoy conversations with him. Inde was very tall. I think Inde stood at 6'5" or something like that. Unfortunately, Inde passed me. He rests in eternal peace. His son is continuing the agenda at the Ghana Bar Association. But Inde was a very brutal lawyer. Inde was a member of the PNDC. And he liked it when I call him Inde. This is Dr. Kwame Safwedu, who was also at the public tribunal to render his support to Professor Edu Boahen and Kwesi Pratt Jr. And so all of these people you see are the audience in the public tribunal system. Let's continue the video and listen to what Professor Edu Boahen said in his defense at the public tribunal. In a nutshell, okay, let's listen first and then I'll summarize it. Here is Professor Edu Boahen.
I believe this was same court was to invite me here to give evidence as a witness. And as the charge shooting the issue, I refuse on that basis. And if I'm brought in the same way, now accused, place me how I can live. So I cannot speak. For the reasons which I set up in my letter to the chair of the National Tribunal, I do not accept the authority of this tribunal. I stand by the terms of my letter. Indeed, the present situation of affairs is strength of my allegations that these tribunals are instruments for the persecution of political opponents of the PNDC government. It is well known, both the government and the security agencies, that I had no connection whatsoever with the bomb throwing incident.
That's Professor Edu Boahen. He says that he's challenging the authority of the public tribunals, and he emphasizes that he has no connection with the bomb throwing at Ringway Hotel. And he talked about the fact that he didn't support the public tribunal. That was the sentiment of Edu Boahen then 34 years ago. Now the tribunals are back, except that the presidential accent doesn't come, that Parliament has actually passed it. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is still happily with us, and he's still doing the same job, thankfully, helping all of us and setting the standard for everyone. This is how Kwesi Pratt Jr. responded to the public tribunal system 34 years ago when he was on trial here in Accra at the public tribunal. Listen to Kwesi Pratt Jr.
I can't before the tribunal officer. Sir, the greatest is not let us spoon to the boss before the cars. As we explained to the professor, and what we are doing here is based on procedure and law. And we just don't do things at random.
Now, the second one is that I am deeply convinced that the state is not interested in the enforcement of law generally in this country. And that has been done before this court because you are opponents of the government, and the government wants to use these issues to be legitimizers. And there is evidence to that effect. PNDC members have committed murder because any murder, which is a gruesome crime, goes unpunished in this country. Because you know that the person is associated with the PNDC. And there's a case in 1983 where the PNDC member picked up a rifle and shot 6 people dead. The case was reported to the chairman of PNDC, and he did not find necessary to enforce the law. Now, why is the state interested in enforcing the law when it comes to a simple question of obstruction of the traffic? When panel members of the tribunal themselves have publicly admitted that the state is government interference in the affairs of the tribunal.
I can't before the tribunal officer. Sir, the greatest is not let us spoon to the boss before the cars. As we explained to the professor, and what we are doing here is based on procedure and law. And we just don't do things at random.
Now, the second one is that I am deeply convinced that the state is not interested in the enforcement of law generally in this country. and that have been brought before this court because you are opponents of the government, and the government wants to use this issue to be legitimized. And there is evidence to that event. PNDC members of committed murder any murder, which is a gruesome crime, goes unpunished in this country because you know that the person is associated with the PNDC. And there's a case in 1983 where the PNDC member picked up a rifle and shot 6 people dead. The case was reported to the chairman of PNDC and he did not find necessary to enforce the law. Now, why is the state interested in enforcing the law when it comes to a simple question of obstruction of the traffic? When panel members of the tribunal themselves have publicly admitted that the state is government interference in the affairs of the tribunal. I can report the tribunal as a
Sir, the judges is said, not let us move to the post before the task. We explain to the professor, when we are 3 years.
So Kwesi Pratt's forceful arguments before the tribunal was that it's unconstitutional. Basically, that's what they were saying. Now, you have to understand, viewers, that this tribunal videos were showed before the promulgation of the 1992 Constitution. These videos are in sometime in 1992. In fact, the 1992 Constitution was promulgated on 7 January 1993. So all of these videos are showed where there's no constitutional benchmark to make a determination of something being unconstitutional. But Kwesi Pratt forcefully argued that based on the procedure being adopted at the public tribunal, that it was unconstitutional. We'll come back to that another day, but this is our efforts on the tribunal. At 10:20 p.m., is my time correct? Yes, 10:20 p.m., we now move to our next item where we are interviewing 2 professors or 2 lecturers from the Faculty of Law, Dr. Fafa Agbeko and Phoebe Aite, both of them representing the Faculty of Law of the University of Ghana. They are doing something interesting there that I believe will help a lot of students. If we got that, I'm sure we'll be better people today. But thank you, ladies, and welcome to the studio. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let me start with you, Dr. Fafa. What is the Distinguished Alumni Lecture Series, and why is the school launching it now?
So thank you, Paul. So first off, the Distinguished Alumni Lecture Series is a new initiative by the school. The intention of this initiative is to bring back our accomplished alumni into active engagement with the school. It's intended to serve as a platform to celebrate what they have achieved and the excellence which the school has produced over the years. It's also intended to give students access to our alumni, bring that connection between students and alumni. It's going to be the first of many more to come, so this is the maiden one, and we intend for it to become a permanent fixture in the academic calendar. So every year we are going to have that.
So is it different from the Law Week that we used to do?
The Law Week is, for the LSU, it's wholly organized by the LSU.
The students' body.
Yeah, for the students' body. But this is something that is being organized by the faculty under the auspices of the dean. So why are we launching it now? The school has been in existence for years. The school has produced so many distinguished people, but there's no formal structure in place that ensures that we keep in touch with our alumni, that ensures that our students are able to connect and engage and get exposed to, the highest forms of practice, both at the bench and at the bar. So this is the first step of many steps to come to try and fix that.
I see, that's interesting. But your selection is also quite interesting. It makes it actually very attractive. Justice Yoni Kulendi and Justice Dennis Ejay, both of them Supreme Court judges. The question will be that students may not have, post the event, students may not have access to Supreme Court judges as such. But why do you start with 2 Supreme Court judges? Very, very powerful and very distinguished too. I know Justice Kulendi is a very great speaker, and I'm sure students are going to enjoy the occasion. But he's a judge. So after he spoke in, how do you get access to a judge?
There will be a cocktail and networking session after the event. So the event will be in 2 parts. So during part 2, when we are having the cocktail and the networking session, students will be able to interact with all their distinguished alumni who will be present. So that's how they will be able to interact with them. Now, why we selected them is based on the topics. You would bear with me that the issue of legal education has become very topical at this point in time, and also issues pertaining to justice administration and delivery in the country have also become topical. And so we thought that to launch the maiden Distinguished Alumni Lecture, why not bring people to speak to these issues? Now, when you look at legal education, Justice Sir Dennis has been involved actively in legal education in several capacities. He has taught as a law lecturer, both at the Ghana School of Law and at faculties of law. He's been dean of a law school before. He's been part of the conversations that have led up to, the reforms in legal education. I remember sometime 2017, 2018, there was a maiden conference of legal academics that was hosted in Kumasi by the KNUST faculty. He was there. And so if you're looking for someone who can speak to this topic, we couldn't imagine a better person than him because he's seen it all. He's been there, through the various phases. Then talking about justice delivery, look at Justice Kulendi's topic, the architecture for effective justice delivery, the stewardship of the bench, the advocacy of the bar, and the trust of the people. We all know he's had a very illustrious practice time at the bar before being elevated to the Supreme Court. As a testament to his excellence, he has a number of landmark cases to his credit as well. And so if you're looking at someone who can speak both from the perspective of the bench and the bar, you cannot think of another person other than him at this point. So that's why we settled on these two.
And you said there's going to be an annual event, so it's going to be 2 speakers on each occasion?
The needs of the time would determine what we do, whether we go with 2 speakers or 1 speaker, or maybe more than 2.
Also, sometimes it could be more than 2. Let me bring in Ms. Phoebe Aite on. Is the event open to general public and especially students who are not with the Faculty of Law, somebody in economics, somebody in School of Admin, somebody in archaeology? Can they all attend? How do they get to attend?
Yes, Paul, thank you very much. And yes, the event is open to the public. Anyone who believes in the power of learning and meaningful conversation can attend. But particularly if you're an old student of the University of Ghana School of Law, this will be an opportunity for you to reconnect with your alma mater. In fact, there is a beautiful Ghanaian saying, which I can literally translate as, never forget where you started. And so this will be a great opportunity for our former students to come back home. And also, if you're not a former student, but you're a legal practitioner who also is interested in the future of legal education and the legal profession, this will be a great event for you to attend. If you're also not a legal professional, but you're interested in justice, leadership, public service, this will be an amazing event for you to attend, and we can assure you that you will leave very, very inspired.
What about a student who is studying archaeology?
If he's also interested in justice, if he's interested in connecting with Supreme Court justices, with alumni of the Ghana School of Law, he's also welcome to join us.
Did you pay to attend?
No, it's free.
Where is it happening?
It's happening at the University of Ghana School of Law. It will be in our auditorium. It starts at 3 p.m. and it's on the 30th of July, on Thursday.
I see. 30th of July. That's 2 days from now. Okay, so viewers, you can see it on your screen right now. Distinguished Alumni Lecture Series, and you have Justice Kulendi and Sir Dennis, and I believe that's the Dean of the Faculty of Law,
yes.
Professor Atupare, who is also there. He's hosting it, and I think it sounds like a very good event. These days, with digitalization and technology, let me surprise you with a question. Can I see it online? You still have time to.
Yeah, but I would prefer you come in person.
Okay. There are people
But
abroad
yes,
who
it
are
will be
watching us. A lot of
online.
your students
Yes.
are doing their masters abroad who are watching us, who are very eager to come. I'm sure Kweku Azar is watching, and he will be very eager to plug in.
We'll be streaming.
Yes, so the live stream is important. When you get the stream number, just give it to my people, and then we'll show it on our Facebook page that is to be streaming on this page, so that those who can't make it to Legon but are interested in seeing it can also see it. How does an event like this benefit the school and the students practically, really? And that's a question for you, Phoebe Aite.
Well, that's a very important question. So I believe that this event offers three things to our students. 1, connection, 2, inspiration, and 3, empowerment. What do I mean by these? The first benefit, connection. We all know that law students spend years learning judgments or studying judgments. However, it's not every day that they get the opportunity to be in the same room with the very judges that wrote these decisions. And so this will be a great opportunity for them to connect with judges, ask questions, and engage directly with the finest legal brains of this country. Now, the second benefit, which is inspiration. Well, there's a saying that if you can see it, you can become it. And so our students will see firsthand what is possible. They will see former students who have risen to the pinnacle of their profession. Well, if this does not inspire students, honestly, I don't know what will. This brings me to the third benefit, which is we believe that once our students are inspired, they will leave the event empowered to dream boldly, work hard, and pursue excellence with integrity. So please, we encourage you all to come. This will be very, very, very beneficial.
That's interesting. Dr. Fafa, do you want to say something? Let me ask you this program we are controlling. Justice Kulendi just might be giving a judgment tomorrow. There are 2 important Supreme Court decisions coming down tomorrow. The first one is on a constitutional matter, asking the court to declare as unconstitutional the voting system of political parties to elect their leaders. The second one is even more crucial. It is asking the Supreme Court to make a declaration that the Office of the Special Prosecutor works directly under the Attorney General. He cannot process things to court without the express permission of the Attorney General. Those who are applying are asking for a strict interpretation of Article 88, that the Attorney General is the ultimate. So Justice Kulendi and possibly Justice Ajay may be giving judgments tomorrow. When they come on Thursday during question time, are your students allowed to ask them that, why did your lordship say this and that in the Wednesday judgment? Are you going to open up questions to that kind of level?
Like I said, during the cocktail section, they can walk up to them and then ask them questions.
You don't have a question time in the program?
No, there won't be a formal question time. Yes,
so
that there's more time for the informal connections and conversations. Because students, even if you make it formal, you're less likely to get them to interact and speak. So if you make the setting less formal, then you can get them to interact better.
I see. That's very interesting. So if you are a student at the University of Ghana, or if you are KNUST and you want to travel over to see, this is very, very. So this is going to be annual. So it's going to be around the same time every year.
We'll determine the time for next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. You have the last word, Phoebe. What do you have to say?
Okay. So all I can say is come for the conversation, stay for the cocktail, and leave inspired.
Okay, let's see whether Ika has some questions from our viewers for you. Okay, what questions do you have, or what text do you have? You can tell us everything. If there are some for them, they just might answer it.
Okay, there's just one for them. Somebody says, Paul, ask them if there's any chance of someone studying law at Legon but lives abroad.
If they do what?
If there's a chance of anyone to study law in Legon, but the person lives abroad, is it okay for the person to come and study?
If there's a chance to study law, if you want to apply, I don't think where you live matters. It's more about the documents that you are presenting.
Okay.
So I think I can answer that question.
Yeah, that's the only question for them.
Okay, so let's see what other people are saying.
Okay, so thank you very much. This is coming from General E.L. Coleman. He says, Apostle Paul, take it or leave it. You are exceptionally intelligent, articulate, and consistently inspire the audience. Your ability to analyze issues and communicate them clearly makes your program worth following. Keep up the great work. Ohene Isaac says, kudos to you, Paul. You are indeed a genius and you have done well. And he's talking about the apology. Justine Benzema says, I am happy that you are rendering this apology to the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Remsai, for what she said about his security details. However, I think people like Samuel Ablaka, who constantly kept President Akufo-Addo's travel details in the public domain, should learn from you and do the needful next time. Thank you, Paul, for acknowledging that you were wrong and deciding to render an apology. Ismail Jibril says, this is responsible journalism, worthy of emulation by other media practitioners. Kwalbaini says, Paul, please, when are you going to do us the honors of interviewing the President Nana Addo? We would love to hear about his life after leaving the high office, his view on how things are going in the country, and we can't wait to hear from him. We trust you to bring us this content. Bennett Danso says, Honorable Boachi Ejako is a man to lead the NPP and restore the discipline for which the party was once well known of. On the issue of the public tribunals, Bennett Danso says, I agree with Prof. Edu Boahin that the tribunals, John Mahama and the NDC are bent on bringing back are instruments for persecuting political opponents. Ghana must tread cautiously. General E.L. Coleman says, in a constitutional democracy, public tribunals are generally unnecessary because the established courts are already providing transparent and legal processes for resolving disputes. Al-Basid Sese says, tribunals in the 21st century, at a time when democracies are strengthening independent courts, improving due process, and investing in judicial reforms, Ghana is debating on reintroducing of a tribunal system. Parliament recently passed the tribunal bill in 2026, with the government arguing that it would provide or improve access to justice, while the minority has raised concerns about the implications. Ghanaians deserve a justice system that inspires confidence, protects constitutional rights, and is beyond reproach. Our focus should be on the strengthening existing institutions rather than creating fresh controversies. And finally, coming from Nana Owusu, he says the tribunal was an arrested development model by the PNDC, which led to the collapse of many businesses and brain drain of Ghanaians who virtually left the country or disappeared in the middle of the night. Ghanaians must resist the implementation of these tribunals, which are only being implemented to arrest and jail political opponents. I'm not sure the president will assent to the bill, as he would want to leave a very good legacy during his final tenure of office. Thank you very much, Paul. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And there's a lot more to come on Good Evening Ghana tonight. We are going to be dissecting the matter before the Supreme Court tomorrow. They're going to give a ruling on two important issues, whether the OSP should send every document to the Attorney General or not, and whether or not Johnson Asiedu Nkatia is going to have his day. Will it be 100,000, a little more than 100,000 voting for the NDC presidential contest, or will it be 7 million people? All of that depends on the Supreme Court's decision tomorrow. After the break, we go into those matters. This is Good Evening Ghana and it's live. Yeah.
And there they are. The squad is ready, lined up, ice cold, focused and prepared for national duty. Every bottle in position, every label shining with confidence. And here comes the selection. One bottle steps forward, picked from the squad, ready to deliver for Ghana. He takes the first sip. Oh yes, refreshingly hydrating. The whistle goes. The Black Stars are on the move. He breaks through the defense like flowing water. Beautiful control. He lines it up. He strikes. Goal! Ghana is awake. From the fridge to the field, Awake keeps you refreshed. Awake purified drinking water, one for life. Proudly supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
Mommy, good morning.
Good morning, my son. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mom. How about you?
I'm fine.
Joe, I just saw your mom doing her usual morning routine. Like, it was just 2 weeks she underwent a major colon surgery.
Bro, see, my mom is doing perfectly fine, and we're all excited about it. It was minimally invasive surgery, and the recovery has been very fast.
Minimally? Hey! No, wait. What do you mean by that?
So they offered my mom a laparoscopic colon surgery. Laparoscopic colon surgery, which we accepted. It turned out it was equally safe with a very fast recovery time, and the cost involved too was very, very reasonable. She was discharged 3 days after the surgery, and you can see her, she's on her feet again.
3 days?
Just 3 days, bro.
Mean Tuber Hospital, first Ghana colorectal center, aimed to serve a peculiar health need.
From the rich soils of Ghana, our farmers grow the finest ingredients. We clean, hand select, and carefully craft into bold, unforgettable flavors. And when you open our little bag of big taste, it's pure, bold, unforgettable flavor bursting in every bite. Enjoy the goodness, made with big care. This advert is FDA approved.
Finding my dream apartment in just 2 days was a breeze with 7terragh.com. Looking for your next home, the perfect piece of land, or the best commercial property for your business? Are you worried about sending money home for property and finding nothing when you return? Well, worry no more. 7terragh.com is just a platform to find prime lands, perfect properties, or vibrant real estate development at the click of a button. 7terragh.com is your go-to property listing platform that allows you to register, list, rent, buy or sell, and connect with correct agents. With our AI-powered smart search, personalized dashboards, verified agent connection, and interactive property maps, all your property needs have been made easier. Check us out on 7terragh.com or contact us on 0302-998-246 or 0561-032-252. 7terragh.com, powered by MNC Properties.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to Amame Manfo, Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is several buying, a man is swing, Nesansu Mama Hoto so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Good day, fellow Ghanaians. Dr. Adelaide Arobasiajafon is my name, Executive Director of the Jospon Group of Companies and the CEO of the African Agribusiness Consortium. By the grace of God, after several years of contributing significantly to Ghana's sanitation and waste management transformation, the Jospon Group made another bold decision a few years ago to support the transformation of Ghana's agriculture sector. As we became more involved in the agriculture sector, we realized that although Ghana has enormous agricultural potential, transforming the sector would require the active participation of a new generation of skilled and passionate young people. That is why, in partnership with the People's Friendship University of Russia, Rodin University, we sponsored 118 young Ghanaians to pursue postgraduate studies in agriculture and environmental sciences. Our goal was to prepare young professionals who will help drive Ghana's agricultural transformation. In about 2 weeks' time, these graduates will return home. They are coming back with knowledge, skills, and fresh ideas, and we are proud to welcome them home. I believe their success will not only benefit as individuals, but will also contribute to the growth of our agricultural sector and the development of our country. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the People's Friendship University of Russia, Rodin University, for being a valued partner in this journey, and to the Embassy of Ghana in the Russia Federation for its unwavering support and commitment to the welfare of our students throughout their studies. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Can he tee up someone in red?
I be the real goat, Chairman.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
We are talking about BET. Let's be the goat, huh? My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Proudly produced by Casa Preco PLC. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years. Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Don't drink and drive.
This advert is FDA approved.
We have a very proud moment to share with you here on Good Evening Ghana. One of our lead researchers and producers, Nehum Ejapon, who is also the president of the LSU, the Law Students Union, the Faculty of Law, University of Ghana. His lecturers just left the studio, so he put his hands behind his back. But he has done something really good. He won the moot courts, at the 150th anniversary of the Supreme Court. There is Nehum, and the photograph on the left, standing with the Lord Chief Justice, Mr. Justice Paul Bafoboni, and the other people. Nehum, what argument did you make? What was the question, and which side did you argue on?
So initially, I was for the plaintiff, but after the results of the preliminary rounds came, my coaches deemed it wise for me to also argue for the defendant. So I switched to the defendant, and I was the Deputy Attorney General for the finals. So we argued to protect. So the facts were similar to the facts in Ghana. For instance, the Wesley girls, it was similar to those facts. The Wesley girls
the religion
facts.
Matter.
Yes, the issue on Galamsey, for instance, and then whether Parliament can legislate on morality, the LGBTQ bill. So I was arguing to defend all of that. Yes.
So you argued both ways?
Yes, I on the first day I argued for the plaintiffs, arguing against those, and then on the second day I argued for the defendants, arguing for them.
Now, who were the panel?
I think we had about 7 justices, if I'm right. Mm-hmm. There was the Lord Justice, His Lordship AJ Frimpong. There was also His Lordship Akaba Buafo. There was His Lordship NS Jehu. There was Her Ladyship Retired Doji. There was Lawyer Jogati. There was Lawyer Thaddeus Sori. And then Lawyer Okujeto, Mrs. Okujeto.
Esime Okujeto?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. She teaches advocacy, I think.
Yes,
at the law school. Oh, I see. So there you are. So that's you and your colleague?
Yes, my co-counsel, Michael Nsia.
Oh, you were sharply dressed. Did you feel intimidated by the presence of the Supreme Court building? It's huge, with high roof like that. Did you feel intimidated?
No, I felt honored. It had actually been a very big dream, especially since level 100. So I interned with Akufo-Addo Prempeh and Co. And I had the honor of following my seniors to a matter in the Supreme Court. So going there was like a dream come true, way ahead of my call to the bar. So I was honored to be there.
I see. What did Justice Eni Yeboah say to you?
Justice Eni Yeboah?
Yeah, sorry, what did Justice Paul Bafuboni say to you?
Oh, he was like, Mr. President, no, come and stand here. So I stood behind him. Like, no, it's your day. So he asked me to come and stand beside him. That was the first picture. And then gave me the trophy and then said he was proud of me and we had done really well.
You've done very, very well. Do you have the videos of everything that happened?
Yes.
So that we can show some of it on our Facebook page and take some of the pride from you and enjoy some of it. You have some of that?
Yes, we have some of the
Would
videos.
you encourage, so you've now finished, have you?
Yes, so I'm the
LLB?
outgoing president now, not the current president.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So you are no longer the president of the
Yes,
LSU. You
yes.
handed over?
Yes.
But you've completed the LLB last Saturday?
Yes, I did.
Okay, congratulations. So you are going to the next phase?
Yes, the
which is
pre-bar.
2 more years?
Yes.
Okay. So 2 years from now, we'll be seeing you at the call?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. Do you encourage law students? You know, sometimes when you're in law school, they tell you, don't waste your time on these things, focus on your studies, etc. Do you encourage law students to join this? Because the moots it takes long preparation. I did some before. It's a very long preparation away from your regular studies, and you're just preparing for something that's not going to come in the exam or something that's not going to matter in the exam. Would you encourage people to do that?
Yes, I will. I've been a muta for about 2 years now. And with the University of Ghana School of Law, you get the chance to represent the school outside. I've represented the school in France, in Austria, in Kenya. I represented the school internationally, and by God's grace, I represented the school before the Supreme Court. I know it may not directly matter to your grades at a particular point. For instance, this was on constitutional law, but I did constitutional law in level 100. But it keeps your brain sharp because aside the grades, what we'll be doing in courts is this advocacy. Mm-hmm. So I think if you are able to manage your time well, it is worth taking up. It is worth taking up. Yes.
Okay, let's go over to Ikea for some more messages, and then we hit the touch screen on tomorrow's court matter. We have 10 minutes before 11. I think tonight we'll take a bit of your time, viewers, before we close. Because I'm not sure whether we can deal with both court matters in 10 minutes. But we have done it before. My producer was just reminding me that we have actually distilled these matters before, but we'll do it again. Because tomorrow is D-Day, and we see what happens. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live. Okay, what are people saying? And then I hit the touch screen.
Thank you so much, Paul. This is coming from Gariba Abdullah. He says, good evening, Paul and your team. Paul, you're always impressive. I know why the NDC administration is fighting with you with all kinds of intimidation. I know you shall succeed together. Charles Anara says, credibility is all we need for our democracy and institutions to work for the good of all Ghanaians. And over to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court is hearing 2 cases, and tomorrow is the last day of the Supreme Court for the legal year, they say, and so the court will be on vacation until October. Next Thursday, we will come and distill the latest in the Hanan matter. There's a document that we have seen where Hanan's, the court in Adenta is saying that Hanan's money and properties has not been frozen. And then we're also investigating something in the bank. You know, the Office of the Attorney General had said that Hanan had tried to remove money from the bank. We have some leads and we are checking on them. By Thursday, we'll come to you with what we know. Then we can deal with it. But the legal year ends basically tomorrow. And it's ending with 2 big issues that are coming up. The Supreme Court is going to make a decision on both. Now, I believe for our purposes, let's take the first one. Professor Frimpong Boateng, Dr. Christina Mwaku-Nyama, and Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo have filed a writ at the Supreme Court claiming the following. Electoral College violates Article 55 by excluding ordinary members. I don't know whether, producer, did you produce Article 55 so that our viewers can follow us clearly on what the people are alleging? Let's see, it's probably in there already. Delegates create an oligarchic elite-controlled system, and that's the allegation they are making. Now, viewers, just so that we put it in proper perspective, what happens, for instance, is both the NDC and MPP, but let me speak about the MPP, about which I know more. The MPP has this arrangement. Every polling station, now there are 276 constituencies in Ghana. That's not determined by the political parties. That's determined by the Electoral Commission and to some extent the district map and all of that. So there are 276. It used to be 75, now 76. In fact, in 1992, it was 200. In 96, it was 200. In 2000, it was 200. Then in 2004, it became 237. And then it became 275, and then now it's 276. Some of us feel that it's still quite a lot. I mean, if you look at Ghana's population, we should have kept it at 200. But anyway, that's an argument for another day. So what happens is that each constituency has polling stations. There are about 42,000 polling stations across the country right now with 276 constituencies. So for the New Patriotic Party, each polling station has a list of executives. So you have a polling station chairman. The list of executives replicates the national executive. So if the national executive has a chairman, the polling station has a chairman. So polling station has a chairman, a first vice chairman, second vice chairman, and then they have a secretary, they have a women's organizer. For the NPP, because they focus significantly on the Zongo communities, they have a Nasara coordinator, and then they have a youth organizer. I think there are 7 or so of them. So each polling station has that. So they call them polling station executives. And then you climb up. For the NPP, in addition to polling station executives, they have what they call coordinators across. So coordinators are in electoral areas. And sometimes you have 3 or 2 polling stations making an electoral area, and you have 1 coordinator. Some have 2 coordinators. These coordinators are also elected. So they are the next level. And then beyond the coordinators, you have the constituency. So there are many polling stations with executives, coordinators, and then the constituency, say Greater Accra, you can pick Osu-Klotik constituency, or if you go to Ashanti, you can pick a Joso constituency. So you have a Joso constituency and they have constituency executives. They are elected by the polling station executives. The polling station executives are also elected by the party base in the polling station. So you have them as well. Now, for the MPP presidential race, the Electoral College is made up of polling station executives. So, polling station executives, that's 7 times 42,000, something like some huge number. And then you have constituency executives. Then you have regional executives. That's Ashanti Regional Chairman, what Wontumi used to be. Ashanti Regional, in fact, what Wontumi still is. He's going to be, by 15th August, there's an election, and then the Wontumi tenure would have come to an end, and they would elect a new chairman. So you have regional executives. So Ashanti Regional Executives, you have all of them parading to be Ashanti Regional Executives. So you have them. You have Western Region, Central Region. All of them are parts of the Electoral College. Altogether, they form about 100 and something thousand people who elect Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as the leader of the party, or elect Nana Akufo-Addo as the leader of the party, or they elect John Agyekum Kufuor as the leader of the party, or they elect Professor Dubois as the leader of the party. The NDC has a similar arrangement, and it is that group of people that elected Professor Mills, they elected John Mahama. Well, not quite. I mean, the NDC one, they elected Professor Mills, John Mahama, not quite an election in 2012, but later on, of course, they elected John Mahama in 2018 for 2020, and they elected John Mahama in 2022 for 2024, and that's the process. So this group of people, Professor Frimpong Boateng and Nyahota Makulenko, are criticizing that system. We always hear of vote buying. You know that OSP has had occasion to investigate vote buying and all, but we always hear of all of those things. So they are concerned that you don't want to have the vote buying system. So let's expand it to everyone. Now, they are trying to copy the United States of America, where democracy is heavily pronounced. In the United States of America, the national election, the election for the presidential candidate of the Democratic Party, which is the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, or the GOP, the Grand Old Party, which is the Republican, that election is done in states, various states. They always have a timetable of where they start. They usually will start from Iowa. It's a small state. And then they have what they call Super Tuesday, where on Super Tuesday, plenty states are electing. And by Super Tuesday, there's a clear picture of who is leading and who is winning, etc. In that election, say Barack Obama is running for the DNC leadership, Obama can register people to join the Democratic Party and vote for him. It doesn't matter whether you were a Democratic Party member yesterday or not. So long as you're above 18, or I believe it's 16, I think in America, but I think it's 18, you can just go and register to be a member of the Democratic Party in good standing. In good standing is determined by the party, whether you've paid your dues or not. So Professor Frimpong Boateng and Christina Mwakunuyama and Nyahota Maklo are making the argument to the Supreme Court that system, what we do in Ghana, where is polling station executives and constituency executives and regional executives and members of parliament are the only people who vote. That system should be broken. The Supreme Court should say tomorrow that as far as the party's elections are concerned, everybody in the party should be allowed to vote, every registered member. Now, this is very interesting because what they are saying is that if you leave it to that small group of people, you are going to have rigging, votes buying, etc., etc. This Article 55, thank you very much. It says, organization of political parties. The internal organization of a political party shall conform to democratic principles, and its actions and purposes shall not contravene or be inconsistent with this constitution or any other law. So they are saying that this is being violated because it says that the internal organization shall conform to democratic principles, and they are arguing therefore that the system as it is undemocratic because you have a few people who are making the decision for the many. The critical point about this application here is that here in Ghana, a lot of us are not political party registered members. We vote MPP and vote NDC, but we don't have a card that says we are NDC or MPP, except the active players, polling station executives, constituency executive, members of parliament, people who become ministers and deputy ministers. All of these people are those that have a card, and they constitute maybe 1% of the people who vote for NDC. So John Dramani Mahama, for instance, earning 6 point something million votes at the last election, you can bet your bottom dollar that of the 6 million people who voted for John Mahama, not even 500,000 of them have an NDC card. That's the crucial thing. So if the applicants have their way in the Supreme Court tomorrow, there will be a lot of work to register people to hold NDC and MPP card and become people in good standing to vote. But let's look at the political equation. I wish they had Asiedu Nketia and Julius Debra and all of the contestants photographed, so they'll find it as I talk. The critical political matter, for those of us looking at this with political lens, is that this application, if it succeeds, is going to hurt Asiedu Nketia's campaign. Yeah, they're going to get it for me. Fantastic. So if you look at the NDC, this is the group of people who are vying for the position. Kaysel Atuforsen, Musa Dankwa tells us is in the lead. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, Musa Dankwa says is second. Dr. Julius Debra is here. Professor Jenano Pokwadziman is yet to declare her intention, but we keep her in because of what we are hearing. And Mr. Joshua is also Dr. Joshua Alabi is also there. Now, if this application succeeds in the Supreme Court tomorrow, it's going to work against Johnson Asiedu Nketia because Asiedu Nketia is the most seasoned on this touch screen right now. Asiedu Nketia is the one who has the metal in terms of the album. What we call the album is, it sounds like a word in corruption when you're looking at political party elections. When you say album, it almost sounds like corruption because they will say somebody took the album home, somebody has put the album in his pocket, somebody has destroyed the album, my name is not in the album. So the concept of album sounds like corruption. Asiedu Nketia is the one who controls the album of 100 and something thousand people simply because he's been doing this party work for a long time. He's dedicated himself to it. Now, if any of these candidates are coming in, they have to find the people in the album and build a relationship with them. That's not simple. So with this ruling, it's going to say that Asiedu Nketia can keep the album all he wants. The new album, which is the stronger one, is going to be the millions of people who will be registered as NDC members. One of these people or all of these people must pay for that. If NDC says, for instance, that a registration card is going to cost 20 cedis, and you are going to register millions of people for the presidential election, you are registering people who are NDC in every constituency. That's millions. So you're going to have maybe 5 million people registered. The 5 northern regions are going to register 1.8 million people, million. Professor Frimpong Boateng, Nyao Tamaklo, and Dr. Christian Makunyama are thinking that that process is better and people cannot be bought because you can buy 100,000 people, but you cannot buy 5 million people. But we really don't know. Will that system cure the corruption or not? Because here, the presidential candidates must pay the 20 cedis for the people. What we know is that the party will get money because if the party is earning 20 cedis times 5 million people, that's a lot of money. But we do know that money is not going to be paid by the individuals. It's going to be paid by these guys. So we wait to see what the Supreme Court will do tomorrow. And that's why we have to be interested. And that's why many journalists are going to be interested tomorrow morning. I'll see whether I can make my way to the Supreme Court. I'd like to hear it myself what the judges are saying. It's going to be very, very interesting. So good luck to all parties tomorrow. What we can say, though, if we want to do the odds, is that the application before the Supreme Court is prepared by the 3 applicants. The Attorney General has written in response in support of the application. Now, that's very interesting. The Attorney General has applied to the court in support of the application. The NDC party, the National Democratic Congress, has also written in support of the application. I believe the NPP has written something. I'm not sure about that. But the NDC is in support of the application. The Attorney General is in support of the application. And the applicants are in support of the application. So it looks very dicey for those who don't want the application to succeed. But we have to wait to see what the Supreme Court says. Good luck to all of them. But Case Lato Forsen will be waiting at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, checking his Facebook page to see what the Supreme Court ruled. And if he sees that the Supreme Court granted the application, he will do a hooray. If Asiedu Nketia sees that the Supreme Court denied the application, he will do a hooray. Who is going to hooray tomorrow? Your guess is as good as mine. Let's move on to the next case that's coming to the Supreme Court tomorrow. OSP constitutional case. Noah Ephraim Tete Adamte. Noah Ephraim Tete Adamte and others. OSP Act violates Article 88. Prosecutorial authority is vested solely in the Attorney General. Act 959 unlawfully creates a parallel authority. Unconstitutional independence. Section 3.3. 4 and 3.3 of Act 595 give the OSP power to initiate, conduct, and terminate prosecutions independently, which contradicts the Constitution. So Noah is arguing that the act that produced the Office of the Special Prosecutor violates Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. Article 88 creates the Office of the Attorney General and makes the Attorney General, it's an entrenched clause, I have to say, and makes the Attorney General the principal legal advisor to the government. 88.4 also, I believe, also says that the Attorney General is the all prosecutions shall be initiated in the name of the Attorney General, and all suits against governments shall be at the instance of the Attorney General. So where another person, this is the argument, where another person or an act of parliament creates another person to be able to do some of the work that Attorney General is doing, they are inviting the Supreme Court to say that that act, to the extent of the inconsistency with Article 88, should be declared null and void by the Supreme Court. So this is going to be very interesting. If the plaintiffs win, it creates a complex situation of how the OSP's work will move forward. We have heard that the OSP had tried to apply to the court in opposition and he was denied applying to the court in opposition. However, some civil society persons who applied to the court were granted the permission to apply. So before the Supreme Court tomorrow, there will be the arguments of civil society who are supporting Act 595 of the OSP, who are arguing that there's no contradiction in that and there's no violation of the principles in Article 88. We don't have time. We could have gone into why they are saying that. But tomorrow we'll get to know. And then on Thursday, we'll be back here to explain to you in great detail what the Supreme Court has decided. If the Supreme Court decides tomorrow that the OSP must be subservient to the Attorney General in the same way that the police prosecutors, the customs prosecutors are, it changes a lot and it brings down the curtain on the authority of the Office of the Special Prosecutor under Act 595. Will the international community say that Ghana is running away from the fight against corruption? Will people say that Ghana has lost the fight against corruption if that happens? Or will people say that Ghana has now done the right thing because Act 595 was always problematic? It's a very crucial decision for the Supreme Court. We do not know which judges are going to sit, but you can trust us. On Thursday, we'll come to you with big information. Okay, it's 7 minutes past there at 10 o'clock. Okay, I wanted to do this story about, I saw something on Ghana Web. The other day I was sitting here, I don't know whether my producer can find it, but Ghana Web published a story and said, Paul Adumoche quotes Bible verse wrong, something like that. Okay, let them look for that. It's on Ghana Web. I think the type they will get it. It said, I quoted a scripture wrong when I was talking about wound to me, and I said Romans 30:31, and that there's no Romans 30:31, and that I was referring to Romans 8:31, something like that. Is it 8:30 that I said I was referring to, where the Bible says that if God be for us, who can be against us? That I'm sure they'll find that. We can deal with that. Should we deal with the Captain Smart matter as well? It's past 11 on a Tuesday. Okay, let's go to Ikea to give us some more interesting text messages, and then we will see how we end the program tonight. Oh, did they find it? No, they had the Captain Smart one. Okay, Not this one. Ekua, please give us some messages.
Thank you so much, Paul. This is coming from Alex Quason. He says, I must admit that Honorable Boakye Ejiakon is doing very well with his campaign, which seems to be peaceful and not so loud, yet very engaging. With a former NPP Greater Accra campaign manager in the person of Honorable Henry Quartey in his camp, his success is surely assured. This is coming from Augustine Asari is correcting you for saying Dr. Joshua Alabi. He says Joshua Alabi is a professor. This is coming from Yao Febri. He says the Attorney General is the only person that the Constitution has obligated to prosecute corruption and criminal cases, or an authorization to another body or person to prosecute corrupt cases. Independent prosecutorial powers of the OSP was backed by the OSP Act and an LI. So if the Supreme Court is going to consider the intention of the establishment of the OSP, the court will interpret, or already the OSP has been authorized to prosecute independently. Corruption fight was a major campaign message of the NDC, and so if the NDC government is very committed to fight corruption against its own appointees, then the Attorney General will not fight the OSP to seek authorization to determine which corruption cases to prosecute or vice versa. Already the NDC government has succeeded in removing Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono and had packed the court with almost 110 higher and lower judges, including 10 Supreme Court judges, which 3 are waiting for approval by Parliament. So why fight the independent prosecutorial powers of the OSP when the court and the government has packed the body going to determine the cases? And George Dankwa says, God bless you for the education. It's finished.
Speak in Twi and I'll translate contemporaneously into English. What on Aji Ogomono? What's the young country that we inflation 5%? You know, where we marry after prescale ficom to be antazi. Now inflation up from to which, Mr. Speaker, our mothers who sell in the market say they've seen what you are doing. You have sterilized all the money, so there's no money to execute demand, and that is why you calculate that inflation is down. I've also kind spare parts for no. He promised to reduce import duties. He has increased members order. Mr. Speaker, by serving notice, and notice is here myself. The next NPP government under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will ensure that we have inflation at low rates that will not cost the Bank of Ghana 16 billion Ghana cedis. The next NPP government under Dr. Bawumia will ensure that the currency is stable and we will lose. Speak in Twi and I'll translate contemporaneously into English. What on Aji Ogomono? What's the young country that we inflation 5%? You know, where we marry after prescale ficom to be antazi. Now inflation up from to which, Mr. Speaker, our mothers who sell in the market say they've seen what you are doing. You have sterilized all the money, so there's no money to execute demand, and that is why you calculate that inflation is down. I've also kind spare parts for no. He promised to reduce import duties. He has increased members order. Mr. Speaker, by serving notice, and notice is here myself. The next NPP government under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will ensure that we have inflation at low rates that will not cost the Bank of Ghana 16 billion Ghana cedis. The next NPP government under Dr. Bawumia will ensure that the currency is stable and we will lose.
All right, I'm on now. Welcome back to the show. I was busy at the back, so you saw that Zekia was struggling with the text messages. I wanted to pull out this from Ghana Web. Viewers, did you see that? You know, I don't know why people get so happy when Paul Adumochi got something wrong. It's so exciting. But Romans 30:31, how Paul Adumochi boldly quoted wrong scripture on national television. And they have my photograph. They say Paul Adumochi is a Ghanaian journalist. I don't know whether they give me journalism certificates and why. So yeah, viewers, that happened. I mean, I was talking about Chema to me, and I said, if God be for us, who can be against us? And people have just sent me text that is in Romans 8:31. Romans 8 is a very important chapter where Apostle Paul talks a lot about the relationship between God and his chosen people. And he talks a lot about, if you read from 29 to 31, you will really see what I mean. That's really one of my favorite scriptures. People who know me know that it's a very favorite part of the Bible for me. And it ends with, if God be for us, what shall we say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? It's very critical. So next time we do Bible lessons, I'll get it right. But yeah, certainly I said 30:31, and there's no Romans 30:31. People were laughing at me. Don't laugh at me too much. Just go and read Romans 8:29 to 31, and then you get something from there. All right, it's 11:15. That's the end of the story. Let's get on to the Captain Smart situation. I saw a video of him, man. My goodness. I mean, the video is so bad. Listen to the video. It's not good at all. But at the risk of boring you in the night, listen to this video.
Nothing happens today, then nothing would ever happen to me. Look, both the NDC and the MPP, we need to wipe them away. If we fail as people to wipe these useless people, we will never ever survive. We will never ever succeed. We will never ever get to the destination we all yearn for. And run na juna metias yes NDC a useless grouping. MPP a useless grouping. I keep telling you, sir, when we are baller, as I see I do a good bin, but then run na jo and a metias yes a pay me anyway. No matter whoever has led any of these parties, I don't give a damn to anybody.
The only good thing about Captain Smart's video is that he copied our flag. You know, they didn't used to have flags in the studio, but hey, my flag. Oh. that's what will happen. He copied our flag because they didn't used to have flags in the studio, and now they have it. So I'm happy about that. That they. The Onua TV morning show people have copied the presentation of the Ghana flag as part of their platform, which is good. But what he said is very, very bad and is very dangerous. Political parties are the vehicles through which we prosecute a democracy and a democratic agenda. There's also space for independent political parties to go through. Democracy is important. One may argue about what kind of democracy we practice and the rules that we use. So you can have changes in the constitution, which I support. There has to be some changes in aspects of the constitution. One of my pet conversations is that the authority given to the president and the 1992 constitution is too much, and that has to be dealt with. Another conversation I have is that the winner takes all situation is too much, and it has to be dealt with. We have to have the winner takes all conversation to change and find a system where the winner doesn't take all. One of those ways we can easily do that is to have the district assembly system, the local government system elected on political lines so that MPP can win the national election, but MPP will not win all local elections. NDC will win some local elections. It's not just about parliament, because parliament works to the executive. And Parliament does not raise its own money. Parliament's money is given to it by the executive. The issue about the balance between power and resources is important in a democracy. He who has power must also have resources. Parliaments may have power, but they don't have resources. They rely on the executive. But if you create political parties in the mayorship, in the MMDCs, then you have the whole municipal assembly raising their own money, and that seat will be won by the NDC for a long time. You also have seats in Ashanti and Eastern that the MPP will win. That is one of the ways to devolve the power and to make sure the winner takes all stuff is ended. But what Captain Smart said is bad. It's dangerous for our democracy. We shouldn't encourage that kind of talk. That kind of talk is taking us to where Hobbes situation, where life is nasty, brutish, and short. Democracy balances that out. Over the last nearly 40 years of Ghana's 1992 constitution, a lot has happened. We have had free maternal care presented by Kufuor. We have had free health care presented by Kufuor. We have had a free SHS program started by Akufo-Addo. We have had the NDC have brought a GET fund to support our universities and our school institutions. And all of these things are important. Yes, we may not have been where we want to be, but we have taken a great step towards moving forward. And so I do not support the agenda that NDC and NPP all are negative and must be thrown to a bin. They are vehicles and they can have a flat tire. They are vehicles and they can have a broken windscreen. They are vehicles and they can have a broken wiper. But when it gets broken, we fix it. We don't throw them away, because what's the alternative? Now, this kind of rabble-rousing is very dangerous for our democracy. And we have come way from 1979, where this rabble-rousing took us nowhere. We have rabble-rousers who come up and rabble-rouse and nothing happens, because they always don't have an alternative. They don't have an alternative. They rabble-rouse into the system and talk about them. So I've seen Captain Smart saying that he's running for NDC seat in Gomoa. That's encouraging. How do you then say that the vehicle that you want to use to go to Parliament, they have to be thrown to the bin? I do not support it. I think that viewers should not support that. I'm sure that he's angry about something. I'll reach out to him and try and understand why he's saying the things he's saying. Maybe he will tell me the details, maybe he will not. But at least I'll hear something from him. But for those of you watching, those of you who have seen that video, that's a very dangerous proposition. It's not good for the future of your family, for your children. It's not good for the future of the country. Democracy is the best. We can tweak the democracy, and we have to tweak our democracy. All over the world, democracies are tweaked. If you look at America, they have a constitution that has gone through several amendments. And so they talk about the 14th Amendment, the 7th Amendment, the 2nd Amendment. That's what we need to do. We must have a constitution, but it must go through amendments, because there's evolution. People evolve, time evolves, and circumstances change. I do not believe in what Captain Smart is saying. Let us keep the democracy and let it evolve. On that note, viewers, at 20 minutes past 11, it's my pleasure to end the show tonight. Tomorrow, we'll be at the Supreme Court, and Thursday, we'll be back here. This is Good Evening Ghana. Thanks for watching, and good night.
There they are. The squad is ready, lined up, ice cold, focused and prepared for national duty. Every bottle in position, every label shining with confidence. And here comes the selection. One bottle steps forward, picked from the squad, ready to deliver for Ghana. He takes the first sip. Oh yes, refreshingly hydrating. The whistle goes. The Black Stars are on the move. He breaks through the defense like flowing water. Beautiful control. He lines it up. He strikes. Goal! Ghana is awake. From the fridge to the field, Awake keeps you refreshed. Awake purified drinking water. One for life. Proudly supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
Looking for the ultimate oil city getaway? Welcome to the Groove Etipon Beach Resort where luxury meets adventure. Host your meetings and events in our fully equipped conference facility. Relax our sparkling pool, unwind in cozy rooms, satisfy your cravings at our scenic restaurant, and enjoy fun-packed recreational activities and a walk through our charming menus. Whether it's business, pleasure, or pure escape, the Groove is your perfect destination.
Can he tee up someone in red?
I be the real goat.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
We are talking about beat. Let's be the goat, huh? My guy, he be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Proudly produced by Casapreco PLC. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years. Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Don't drink and drive.
This advert is FDA approved.
Metro TV, Original TV, Original FM, and Metro Digital, under the auspices of the Office of the Chief of Staff, proudly present the Clean Conference 2026 under the theme Assessing Ghana's Progress Towards UN SDGs Agenda 2030. SDG 6, Clean Water and Sanitation, SDG 7, Clean Energy, and SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Friday, 21st August 2026, 9 a.m. at the City Conference Hall, University of Ghana, Legon, Accra. With just 4 years to achieve the UN SDGs 2030, how far has Ghana come? The answers begin with one national conversation, the Metro and Original Sanitation Conference, with the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra. The Clean Conference, bringing together government, development partners, traditional authorities, industry players, academia, civil society, young people, and all Ghanaians. Change is not only in conference rooms, so there will be a cleanup exercise on Saturday, 22nd August 2026, also led by the Chief of Staff. Join thousands of volunteers for this massive cleanup exercise across the major streets of Accra. Metro Clean Conference, Wahuni Diema or Maini Tumpong.